area. And so I think he fulfilled that. So here's the sons. Eliphaz had 5 sons. He also had a slave woman whose name was Timnah. And these are Esau's grandsons by his wife Adah. Now, it helped me from a certain perspective to understand that here's Esau. He's a grandpa. Now, I didn't really understand fully that when I was younger. I do now because I have 4 children that are 4 young people that call me Papa. And so Esau had these little tykes running around calling him Papa or Grandpa or whatever they said back in those days. And so that particular family had 5 sons, or had 5 sons for him to pick up and sit on his knees while he was running around in the Your location, and many of us have moved, you begin to look to see who's in charge in that location. You find out people who have been there a while. You seek out their help. Well, these folks helped organize what was going on in Edom. And so to me, this is the exciting part of this, if you will, not just the reading of who begat whom, but the fact that these were leaders down in that area. And then you come across this, Genesis 14, 1 through 12, the sons of Seir, the Horite. And you go, well, where did he come from? You know, he's here now, and you can find him back in Genesis 14, 1 through 12. They were living in the land, and you have these children right here. Whoops, let's see. These folks right here, and you'll notice this name right there. These are the sons of the leaders of the Horites in Edom. And one of the wives, that's her father. The Horites, the son of, gives us the list of the sons. And then it tells you in verse 24, the sons of Zebulun were, let's see if I can get that right, Ai and Anha, or something like that. And then it tells you the first spa and hot springs resort was opened up in the world. Anha is the man who found the hot springs in the desert while he was caring for his father's donkeys. Now, who knew that? You know, we think it's very clever that we open up all these spas around hot springs and people going and for medical or, comfort, whatever. And here, back in those days, that was important too, to be mentioned in the Bible, in this lineage, that this man found it. So I can only assume that he started, I can speculate just like the other commentators. He came up with all this advertisement, herd your cattle and sheep this way, hang out, we'll cook you some lamb chops, enjoy our hot springs, and get back to work for a small fortune. That's where they went. To me, I just find that fascinating, that little nugget is there. And then you continue reading on. The sons of so-and-so. You can read as well as I can. You can make up the words too. And these Horite leaders, these are the men of the Horite families who lived in the land of Edom. And so these Horites intermarried with Esau's family. And this is a little bit better view of the kingdom of Edom, if you will, in the south there. If you get a chance, go look at Google Earth. Spin the globe around to this area and just kind of do an overfly of that area and see how dry it is. I mean, we live in a high desert here. It's kind of dry when you get away from the valley. And, and during the spring, things grow, and when it dries out, things burn. And it's pretty hot out there. When I looked at this from the air in the satellite pictures, it's even hotter. And I've had the opportunity to be in Saudi Arabia. It was hot there. I was there in the middle of winter, middle of summer rather, and it was hot. So this is a hot region. And so my thinking is, why go there? Wouldn't you want to find something a little bit cooler? But this is the area that he moved into. Let's see, catch up here. And so and then it goes into, these are the kings who ruled the land of Edom before the Israelites ever had a king. So you may recall the story of, the people became dissatisfied with having judges and people appointed by God, if you will, when they needed them. And this just tells you that before the Israelites had kings, Edom had kings. So you can look at that and read through those. That's the order in which they served as king. It tells you the son, their father at least, and they're from where they're from, and sometimes the city that they're out of. And so you can read through that in an exciting reading. The takeaway from that is that when it talks about this particular individual right here, which is in verse 39, when Baal-Hanan, son of Akbor, died, Hadad became king. He was from the city of Paiu, the last king there. His wife's name was, anyway, you can see his wife's name's in there. Got listed in there. And she's the daughter of a certain individual who was the daughter of another individual. Just mentioned. Why was it important for that particular woman to be mentioned here? Now, I can speculate that somehow she had made such an influence on the people in that area that she was remembered. And so and she was listed here. In verse 40, let's see if we have a listing of the Edomite leaders. And so it states that they're listed by their families and regions, and they came from Esau. Their names were, and you can read them there. They were the leaders of Edom. Esau was the father of the Edomites. The area where each of these families lived was named after that family. So now you have a geographical lesson, historical lesson. You kind of know an area south of Israel, that's how that populated. When you hear the news today about that region, you can at least say, oh, that's where Edomites were. You now have some familiarity of some background that's going on in that area of where Edom was. Any comments or questions? Larry? To summarize that for those listening at home, trust God. Trust God. All the turmoil that was created by Rebekah, Jacob, and Esau experienced was for naught, because in the end, God can do anything. So trust God. Any other comments? Now, if you really would like to hear the names read, there are plenty of programs that you can buy that have professional readers on them. And so if you like it in the King James Version, so-and-so begat so-and-so, go for that. Because it is exciting, I think at least, when you put the context of what was going on at the time. And we're going to see as we get into Joseph the dreamer in the next chapter. We get into chapter 49. And we go down this line of the old story, the Exodus. When you look at that, you can now put into the context of how Esau fits in that, the Edomites fit in that. You'll have some reference to, wow, that was an organized country. They did well. They prospered. And it's amazing what God can do if we're willing to trust Him and to rely upon His guidance. Any other comments? I would get into Joseph the dreamer, but I think we don't have time to complete that story today. So thank you. You're dismissed early from class. Have a good